How's it going?
Hi, I'm Brooke. I'm 31 and I'm a police officer and I'm trying to shoot my shot with a district attorney.
Okay. All right. Scandalous. We love this. What is the HR policy?
Well, so I work for a sheriff's office
Okay.
and technically, district attorneys that work for the county, we're all kind of under the same umbrella because we all work for the same county. So there's not really like an HR anything in place with if we're allowed to date or not,
Okay.
I guess.
There you go.
So I think the only thing that you can't do is you can't date or a superior can't be with somebody that they have
Yeah.
that they're a
That,
boss
yeah.
over, obviously, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
So we're under the same umbrella, but we're not under the same like entity. He's the courthouse, I'm patrol, essentially. So
Is he the DA or is he like
no, he's not the deputy district attorney, not the
okay.
head honcho. He's just a district attorney. I think
Gotcha.
he's on misdemeanor crimes right now. So he's
Okay.
like low level crimes, whatever.
Yeah.
So his name's we'll call him Max. But and it's kind of like in my email I said we're friends, but like it's not like we hang out outside of work. It's like when I see him at the courthouse when I go to do trial for whatever case I have going on and he sees me, he like approaches me, we talk, and we follow each other on social media.
Okay.
So that's kind of it.
Yeah. So not much to work with.
Not much. He not really. He's liked my stories before, which I feel like which sounds really stupid, but I feel like you don't just like I don't know, people's stories for no reason. I think, but that's probably really stupid, but
I
yeah.
mean, stupid might be a little harsh, but I agree. I don't think people like it for no reason, but that reason might be just because, you're friends
Yeah.
or casuals,
Yeah,
and
totally.
it's just
Totally.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
And I'm buddies with another district attorney who's married, who's just like a nice guy. And me and him have like briefly like chatted on Instagram before about like super not like a thing. Like he'll reply to like a story and be like, "Oh my gosh, where did you hike? I went hunting here," like kind of stuff like that. So I
gotcha.
feel like I could like reach out to his friend and kind of be like, "Hey,
What the
what's
tea?
Max? Yeah, what's Max's deal? Like, and he's not super active on social media. So
Do you know anything about Max's relationship status? I mean, I'm assuming you think
no,
you don't even.
no, I don't.
So
I
for all
don't.
you know, he has a lady he's just not like putting online.
Yeah, he doesn't wear a ring last I saw him, but yeah, for all I know, he could be in a committed relationship and I have like no idea.
How sure of the friendship between Max and this other guy you're friends with? Like, how do you know if they're close or do you know if they're just like casuals?
Oh man, I don't really have anything. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. And I just feel like Max will come up and like I've been sitting waiting for trial, not on like his case, like another case, and he'll see me and be like, "Oh, what's up?" blah blah blah. And he'll be like, "I saw that you went to like the Taylor Swift concert or I saw that you did this." And he like brings up stuff and we sit and chat for like 15 or 20 minutes. And then I will say that's only happened like 3 or 4 times in the last like 2 3 years because the off chance that I see him, it's not like cops don't go to trial like every day. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I've been a cop like 7 years. I think I've testified on the stand like 8 times. So it doesn't happen like a lot of people take plea deals, trial gets canceled day of.
I'd love for you to figure out a way to pull him over and then ask him out on a date. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. But I don't know how, like I don't even know where this man lives. I'm gonna assume like obviously in the county somewhere, but I don't even know. And we're kind of in like the county that I work for is in like the major city in the state that I'm in, like
So,
in the metro area
it,
essentially. So he could be anywhere.
just out of curiosity, what is your interest in him?
I don't know. He just seems like really
You
nice.
just you seem like you don't know much of anything about him. So do you think is it what
I
is the biggest draw? Do you think he's hot? Do you think it's like brief interactions that
I
he's
think
just
he's
funny?
yeah, I think he's attractive. I think he's really nice. I'm also like I'm in like my single era right now, like just like back in the summer got out of like a somewhat serious relationship that I thought was going to be kind of end game, I guess. So I think I'm just kind of casting reels, I guess. Like I'm just kind of open to dating and like finding like I'm
Well,
being trying to be intentional with
yeah.
dating. So I see like he likes my stories and I'm like, why hasn't Max like ever like I wonder what's going on with him. He's just always kind of been this like what if even the times like he first interacted with me, I was like, oh, this guy like came up and talked to me. That's kind of cool. But then like I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, whatever. And so now as I'm like, I feel like I'm in the most confident state
Yeah.
I've ever been in. So I'm just kind of like, well, what's the harm in like, I don't know.
How no harm. Yeah, that the answer is that. How old do you know? How old is Max? Do you know?
I think he's about my age,
Okay.
31.
Well, the good news is, like you said, you're kind of in this kind of single era. Nothing's gonna hurt other than your pride and your ego if it doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
There's that.
I'm just wondering, like, if it's like, is it cheesy for a girl to like,
No,
the only access I have to him is the county email, which I don't want to do it on that. And then
we hate that.
Instagram.
Instagram's.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram's not the worst. Like
Right.
it gets a bad rap for whatever reason. I don't know, because maybe I don't know why. It just does. But that's how people are meeting, online,
Right.
because you have the access to you don't need someone's number to just say hi or ask them out. Have you
Yeah.
ever DM'd you
Yeah.
guys? So you guys have sent messages back and forth. Like,
No, so not me and Max. Max's friend that also works for the district attorney's office, me and him have messaged back
mm,
and forth because that was kind of like, could I do it through him? Like he's a little bit more outgoing, I would say, his friend, but his friend's like, I'm not interested in his friend. His friend's like married, just a super outgoing, nice dude. And so I'm like, I wonder if I could somehow like let his friend know, like, hey, I think Max is cute, you
so
know.
I have a suggestion before you go to the friend, right? Because you don't really know much information. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we're just having fun here. I'm giving you
Right.
ideas, but like, do whatever the fuck you want is the real answer. There's no really harm in this. But if we're gonna like try to figure out the safest, create the least amount of ripples, type of thing, I have an idea that doesn't include you reaching out to the friend first. And because
Okay.
you haven't DM'd him, how often is he posting on his stuff?
He does not post a lot, but
Never.
he's active because I mean, like at all. Like, I don't know if maybe one post, maybe like a story,
Okay.
but not a lot. But he's active because every time, I'm not saying I post stories all the time, but whenever I post a story, I
How
can know
how
he's seen it.
how often do you check your DMs?
Like normal, like, I don't know, like if I go on and I have a notification, I'm looking.
Oh, so you will okay. I honestly don't know because, like, someone in my position who uses social media for work, like, it's,
Yeah.
I'm very active, or I have other people do it, but, like, I don't know how there's definitely a world where he never does, right? Anyways, my idea
Yeah.
is for you to DM him, not to ask him out, but, like, kinda just basically see if the phone's on, so to speak, right? So
Yeah.
you send him a
Yeah.
message, I don't know, ask him a random question, maybe go find an old picture and ask him a question.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
Okay. I know that he likes college football and his brother played for a major university in the state that I'm in,
Okay,
and he was like a legit football player. So
that's
I
cool.
kind of, and we've talked about that in person. So like I could bring up
I don't
like,
even care about that. Find a random old picture.
okay,
You wanna slightly be obvious that you were stalking his social media,
right,
you know? And then find a picture that you can ask him a question.
okay,
So you go on, you find the picture, and then how do you do it? You, like, reply to someone or something? So, yeah, you press that arrow button, and then you send it to him. You send him the
yeah, yeah,
picture, and then underneath,
uh,
ask the question. Who gives a shit what the question is? You're doing this because you wanna see if he's checking his DMs,
okay,
right? Because what we don't wanna do is have you shoot your shot in the DMs, and then he never checks it, period, and you're just like, "Did he read it? Did he not read it?" You know? Is he
yeah,
ignoring me? Is he unaware? You know what I'm saying? You wanna know
yeah,
if he's checking your DMs. So send something to him that is very easy for him to reply to. Because as far
right.
as you know, like, it's, like, kind of random that you send him this message, but at the same time, whatever.
Is it dumb if I do it? Like, does it matter what this is gonna sound so, like, microscopic, like, why am I focusing on this? But is it cringy if I do that, like, in the morning, or should I wait, like, later in the evening, like, I've, maybe had a couple drinks and I'm just feeling flirtation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're overthinking that.
Like,
This is we're not
yeah,
flirting.
probably,
We're not
sorry.
flirting here, and we're literally basically we're pinging him. We're
Okay,
seeing if this is on. We're sending a signal and we're seeing if we get a signal back. Because again, the worst thing
okay,
you could do, not the worst thing, it doesn't really matter, but like as I'm sure you would hate to have shoot your shot, not get a response from him, but have really no idea if he saw it or not. Because we are talking about a guy who's
Right.
not very active on social media, and it's not a crazy thing to think that's a very busy, ambitious district attorney who is not active on social media is probably maybe not checking his DMs all that often or ever, right?
Right.
Or maybe he
Right.
is. We
Right.
don't know. So this is just, we're just kind of seeing first if he is, right?
Okay.
Let's assume he
I like it.
replies, right? And then at that point, I don't know. You could just ask him out. Be like, hey, totally random, have no idea. And like, here, also one benefit for your ego, that is, for the fact that you don't even know if he even has a girlfriend, is that you can give him an easy out, right?
Yeah.
If he doesn't want, for whatever reason, maybe he doesn't want to mix business with pleasure. Who knows what is, you have no idea what's going on in this guy's personal life. Maybe he just got out of a relationship. Maybe he's kind of casually seeing someone you don't know. So when you shoot your shot, you can say something like, listen, totally random, but like, I have no idea whether you have someone or not someone, but if you're not, like, let's get drinks sometime. Just keep it cash, right?
Right.
That's all you have to do.
I like that.
If he doesn't, if he, for whatever reason, doesn't want to go out with you, he can lie to you and be like, oh yeah, I'm kind of seeing someone, whatever.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And
yeah, which is totally fine. Like if I'm just like, I'm in this, like I said, like, I don't really care if he like rejects me. It's just kind of whatever. Like, I feel like I'm in this era of like, I'm very confident in who I am and I feel good about myself. So it's like, if it doesn't like work out, I have a lot of other prospects. Like I'm on dating apps, I'm on all the good stuff. So I'm just,
we love that. Yeah.
But I just didn't know I just didn't know what was kind of like, what would look stupid or whatever. But you're right. I kind of like that idea of pinging. I like the term pinging him, like just letting him just to see like, yeah, if he's even on his Instagram or if he's checking DMs or whatever.
Yeah. Now, let's say you send him this ping and he doesn't reply, then you need a new strategy, right? Because then it's like, oh, well, he probably didn't read it, right? Because like we're going to send him a message he's going to have no problem replying to.
Yeah.
And
on it, you can see when people when they read them. So if he reads it and ignores me, then that's kind of my answer, I think.
Yeah. But I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna ignore the picture you painted. I don't think he's gonna ignore you the first time.
I don't think he is either.
And even if you keep it casual, don't overthink it. Don't try to be funny. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know your sense of humor. You don't know him. Like, hey, totally random. Not sure what your relationship status is, but if you're free, we should grab a drink.
Yeah. Okay,
listen, I don't know what his, to me, that's very direct. That's what I would say as a man to a woman. I think it's kind of hot when women do that. And,
I do too.
You're a cop, right? You're a cop. So you have no business, and I'm assuming interest, in dating a man who's intimidated by a strong personality, right? And I'm assuming you have a fairly strong one. You're a cop, right? So, I don't think you should overthink whether you should be direct or indirect. Just be who you are, because the last thing you want is to misrepresent yourself early on,
totally,
and hide who you are. So be direct, tell them, and then be direct because, that's probably who you are. Right. I mean, I don't know. Are you a direct person or are you surprisingly a sheepish person when you don't have the badge on?
Yeah, no, I'm very direct. And I don't really have a problem. I don't know. I just am very, not confrontational, but I can bring things up very easily. And I'm not necessarily I don't get embarrassed that much. I'm just kind of
be like, hey,
if I DM'd him and he was like, hey, I actually have a girlfriend, I would have no problem seeing him at the courthouse the next day and just small talking him. You know what I mean? I would just be it would be easy. That wouldn't be a thing for me. I just didn't know the way to approach it since he's not. It'd be easier if he was active on social media and then I could reply to a story or something. But
so if you don't get a reply, then maybe and I wouldn't message your friend, the other guy.
Okay.
I mean, you could. I don't. If you're anxious to do this,
I'm not mega anxious. I went on a date last night with another guy. I'm kind of talking to 2 or 3 other dudes. I'm just kind of
so yeah. If he doesn't reply, I think you're better off just when you see this other guy, if you want to be like, hey, do you know what Max's story is? What's his situation?
Yeah.
Does he have a girlfriend or not? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm gonna send the DM later, I think.
Or you could just randomly show up at the courthouse. Just
yeah. I know where his office is at. I have I can get in and do all that stuff. So,
I mean, if you're that anxious, you could just walk by his office and be like, "Yo, check your DM," and then walk away.
I know that. That'd be kind of crazy, but I would do
No,
it. I
I mean,
wouldn't
I don't
care.
think it's
But
crazy. You just got to keep it short and sweet. You just don't
right.
linger. Don't be like, "Hey,
Yeah,
check your DM,"
yeah.
and stand there. You just kind of,
I
you know.
agree. That'd be kind of fucking crazy. But yeah, I agree. Actually, I have one more question about dating apps and dating, if you have
Yeah,
time.
shoot.
I would consider myself kind of a modern woman, right? And I think a lot of chicks feel this way, whatever. I have my own career. I'm buying a house right now, whatever. So I'm doing all these things. And I don't find myself to be very, very needy when it comes to dating. And so, like, I went on a date with a guy. He's 30. We just had one date and then he's been gone last weekend. We're probably going to see each other again this weekend. Really nice, attracted to him, all those things. But how do you like lay a boundary down that you don't want to text all the time? Because he's like very texty. And the more I learn about him, I found out that he was in a 10-year relationship
Have you
as of
met
6 months ago.
have you
So his
met this
yeah,
person?
I had drinks with him 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
And he's like really nice. We actually have like mutual friends. Oddly enough, I went to the police academy with his brother like 7 years ago, which is kind of a weird small world. Nice guy. I'm just sensing that he's like kind of, I guess I just don't know like how picky and bitchy can I be? I guess like he seems like he needs a lot of validation because he's new in the dating game. And so he's like texting a lot. And I'm like, hey, dude, like I'm in the middle of my work week. I'm coaching recruits. I always have a recruit in my car. I work for a very busy county. Like I don't have time to like sit here and small talk text you. And I feel like it ruins in-person conversation. Like if we're always attached at the fucking hip, it just feels like very needy and like I get over it pretty quick. I could tell he was kind of offended by it, but he
How
was
did
just
you
like,
say? Did you
"Well,
say it like that?
no." I was very like, I told him this in person too, because we were texting, we met online and then we chatted online and then we exchanged numbers, which I was okay with. And then we were texting leading up to our date. And then at our date, I was like, hey, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not like the biggest, like, I like a check in text, like every couple days type thing. Or if you have something that you need to tell me about our upcoming date, whatever. But I don't want to just sit here and text, like, good morning. How are you? What are you up to? You know what I mean? So,
And
like,
he was doing it after one night of drinks?
yeah, and
Okay.
leading up to it was very like I tried to like let him go a couple times. So like leading up to our date, I was like working and it was like a Friday night or something and I was like, "Hey, like I'm going to let you go. Work's pretty busy. I need to like I so as a coach, like I ride in the passenger seat of the patrol car and my recruit who's in training drives my car and I grade him all day. They call us FTOs, field training officers. So I have the luxury to text if I want, especially if it's a little bit slower of a night. But like I'm in and out of the car, I'm monitoring my recruit to make sure he doesn't die, I don't die, all that kind of crap, right? We're not violating someone's rights. So like my brain is occupied. And this man is like texting me. So I just kindly was like, hey, work's kind of busy. I'll catch up with you later. Have a good night. And he's like, just text me when you're not busy. Like he wouldn't end the conversation. And I was kind of like that immediately. I hate the word the ick, and I know you hate it too, but it gave me the ick. I was just like, let me go work my job. And like, we don't need to be talking all the time. And then on our date, when I first met him, he disclosed to me, like, it all made sense. He's like, I was in a 10-year relationship. And as of 6 months ago, we mutually broke up. And I was like, so your entire 20s, you were with the same gal? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, that's all adding up. Like it's making sense.
Well,
I don't
okay.
know.
Yeah,
I just don't
listen.
know how to like nicely. Yeah. I don't know. Go
Well, I
ahead.
think you're overthinking that part, which is it's probably a little bit of a theme for you. Um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I just want to emphasize in early dating situations, that's what this is. It's really important to do what makes you feel the most comfortable. And we, as I guess, society, or just, I think, modern daters, seem to really ignore that part.
Right.
And they do what they think will make the other person happy, or they do what they think will not make the other person sad or disappointed or whatever. You guys don't know each other. You're total strangers. You didn't even have this background that you have now on this guy. So it is really important for you to just set your boundaries or set your expectations and communicate those early on in a respectful way, which you did, you know? And
Yeah. I
if
was super, I
yeah,
wasn't rude. I was just super like, this is like, I'm a busy gal. Even when I'm like hanging out with my family and friends on my weekend, like I like to be present. I don't want to be
yeah.
glued to my phone.
And how did he handle it? Did he
He was like very, I could tell like he understood. I could tell he didn't like it. Like he was kind of like, I think he read into it maybe a little bit
Well,
much
tell
and
me
was like,
as
well, I
much as
want
you
you to
can
know, like, I
remember.
really like you.
Tell me as much as you can remember exactly what he said.
He was like, "Oh yeah, like I feel the same way. I don't like to text a lot either," which I immediately was like, "But you do. You literally like you wouldn't let me end the conversation like 4 times in the last week. Every time I tried to say, "Hey, I'm doing stuff. I'll talk to you later." It was always just text me when you're ready. Like text me when you're done with what you're
Yeah.
doing. I don't mind. Like that kind of thing. So he was respectful and he's like, "Hey, I totally get it. No big deal." And then the next morning after our date, he was like, "Hey, I'd like to see you again." I said, "Yeah, like I'm open to another date. Totally cool, whatever." The next morning, he Snapchats me. I fucking hate Snapchat. I don't even know why I still have it, but he Snapchats me. So like I of course I open it and I'm like, "Okay, I have to reply to him." Reply back and then he's like that's a meaty, bitchy comment like, "Oh, he was going camping this last weekend, so he was going to be out of service." And he was like, "I'm packing for camping. I bet you're so excited to get rid of me." And I was like, I just kind of messaged him back on Snapchat very
That's kind of an ick.
respectfully. Was
Yeah.
yes, I messaged him back, and my last boyfriend used to do that shit all the fucking time. And I messaged him back. I said, "Look, it kind of sounds like you're feeling like you need some validation in the like if I want to text you department." I literally said that and I was like, "I just want you to know like I told you I wanted to see you again. I just laid a boundary out that I don't like to text all the time. Nothing to do with you. It's just how I like to live my life." And then he texts me. He got off Snapchat and texted me and was like this long text like I read your Snapchat message. I just want you to know, yeah, sometimes I do need validation. You seem like a catch. I really am attracted to you. I really want to see you again. And I am kind of worried that going out of town for 5 or 6 days, you're going to forget about me. And I'm like, dude, it's been one fucking date. One date. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I don't, it just seemed really intense and
Yeah,
aggressive.
listen,
And
a couple
it
things
kind
to
of made me,
remember. A couple of things to remember. All right, slow down for a second. All right. One, I just want you to remember this guy and his behavior after one round of drinks. The next time you meet someone that you're really excited about who doesn't give you the same attention. I just want to point out to
right,
you and everyone listening, this is how men behave when they're really excited and really like someone.
right.
And I just so I just want to point that out to everyone
Okay.
listening when they're like, why doesn't he call me back? And you get together with the girls and you're all like trying to make up a bunch of bullshit excuses as to why he hasn't reached out or to why he hasn't, and you're like, well, he's busy, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying this is the energy of a guy who's excited about someone new. And so just
Right,
remember that
right,
when you're wondering about someone else, right? That being
right.
said, listen, the way you remember it, yeah, one, he sounds like a guy who, like you said, doesn't have a ton of dating experience and is used to having a partner, right? He's used to having
Yeah,
that companionship, that
right.
neediness, right? Like, not neediness, but just like he's used to having someone, right? I don't know how his relationship ended, and you don't know that either, but 6 months, not a ton. Maybe there's some trauma there. Maybe, if she left him, he's probably feeling a
He
certain.
makes it sound this was weird. He was like, it was mutual,
It's
and
never
we're
mutual.
actually like this. Yeah, I don't know. He's just like, it was mutual. We just like grew apart, whatever. And then he was like, but I don't know if this is like weird for you, but we are kind of still friends. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we have the same friend group, so I see her. And I was like, I didn't even ask any details because I didn't feel like I had the right to ask in that moment. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, I
I
was
mean,
just kind of like,
I would, with that information, I would go to Vegas and probably put a large bet down that she broke up with him if I could somehow get the facts.
that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
I was like, there's more to this story. Like, this is not.
And maybe the
Uh,
more of the story is listen, after 10 years, for example, one of my serious relationships, my last serious relationship in my 20s, we dated for 2.5 years, so it wasn't 10 or anything like that. And when we broke up, it was mutual. We were at each other's throats. We were like, we need a fucking break. We agreed on that. But at the end of the day, I was more of the driving force, and she was more interested in getting back together. And at that point, I had a little bit more dating experience. I had gotten back together with other girlfriends in the past. I was kind of done doing that. So I was very much like, no. So it was me who really ultimately ended that relationship, where she was probably more willing to try it out and restart and figure it out. And I just wasn't. Right. So I'm sure there's a little
right.
bit of truth to it was mutual. They did it for 10 years, right? A lot of history there. Maybe they were probably fighting for a couple years and they finally just got exhausted, but it's never totally mutual. And it
Yeah.
sounds, based on what you're telling me, that maybe she was more the driving force of the breakup than not. And the fact that they have mutual friends makes a lot of sense. They did it for 10 years. I guess my point of this guy is just like, listen, I don't know if you want to date him again. I don't know if you not. It sounds like so far, he didn't ace the test, but he didn't fail it either.
Yeah, he's not like a bad guy. I just like I know I'm so critical. Like we talked about habits, like lifestyle stuff. I would say I'm pretty active. Like I lift 3 to 4 times a week. I walk a lot. I don't drink and get like crazy drunk all the time. Like I'm pretty conscious about my alcohol intake. And this guy kind of sounds like he's like, "Oh, you don't go to the bar?" And I was like, "Dude, I can't tell you I think the last time I was at a bar was a bachelorette party like a year ago." And he's like, "Oh, like, me and my buddies like go to the bar a couple times a month." And I'm like, "To do what?" "Just hang out and drink." Like that kind of shit. Like, I
Well,
don't know. And I'm
a
just like,
couple times a
like,
month is not a lot for a guy
yeah,
who's,
but
how old is this guy?
I know he's 30, but like, I'm just like, it just seems like, and then like lifestyle stuff, he's like, he doesn't eat fast food all the time, but I know he's kind of like, yeah, I go out to eat a lot. I do all that stuff. And
All right,
I
so
don't know
like
if I'm
let's just
like,
pause that for a second. My thing is right now with this guy or any of these other guys, this is called dating. Stop trying to
yeah, I
figure them
know.
out, right? He gave you some
Right.
information about going to the bars twice a month with his buddies. Like, you don't go to the bars. There's a slight disconnect there between in terms of compatibility,
Right.
but now you're like, instead of getting his information that he gave you and then in your own mind trying to interpret to what you think that means, why don't you just either decide whether you want to get to know more or not, right? Like, so if you do want to continue to
Yeah.
hang out with him, then you see, and enjoy this period of dating like that that you're comfortable being single, that you are, but don't just be a fuck boy in the sense.
Yeah.
Date, like you said, with intention. So like, date these guys, get to know them, like set these boundaries. You're kind of operating with this kind of like who gives a fuck attitude, which is great, right? So that you can actually be willing to have these direct conversations with these men and see how they respond, right? Did they
Right.
respond in
Right.
a way that makes you go, "Oh my God, absolutely not," or like, "Yeah, I don't know, sounds like a little bit of a lost puppy, but it's kind of endearing, and he does seem to really have an interest in me, and like, I don't know, I'm not sold on him, but like, I'm definitely interested in learning more." And so you go out with him and you
Right.
see if date 2 was better or worse than date 1, and then you go on from there, right? But just stop
Yeah.
trying to insert what you think you know about these people with 2% of the information that you've already learned, which is what we all do and you're doing,
Totally.
right? So like, just try not to overthink that part.
Okay.
Collect the data, right? You're learning something about, I guess, men in general by dating this guy because he's admitted to you he's really excited about you. His behavior is matching that. And you've probably been someone like everyone else before you. When we like someone and they don't give us the same energy we want back, we will make excuses for the behavior. And then we will give people, and then we'll chase that instead of just accepting how they're treating us, right? Or their lack of
Right.
interest in us, And we waste a lot of time trying to figure things out because we want that validation. We all want validation. Quite honestly, I think it was pretty impressive for this guy to acknowledge that he likes the validation that he does. It doesn't mean he's a
Right.
awesome guy. Maybe he's like, I don't know, maybe he's self-aware, but still really needy guy, which would be kind of
Yeah.
ew. But like, it showed a level of maturity from him
Yeah.
to not get super defensive and to just simply say, I think you're right. Now, when the fact that you said that he went off of Snapchat and then sent you a long text, I could absolutely picture, I guess, myself or anyone in that position realizing like, okay, I should text this on a text because it's a serious conversation. I don't want to send this over Snapchat. And then feeling very self-conscious about that, but feeling like I really need to like express myself and get it out because not sending it, he's overthinking it too.
Right.
Right. So
Totally.
who knows? Probably not your guy, but like, stop. You don't have to figure that out. Right.
Yeah.
Just
Totally.
go out with them. And again, you're a
You're
cop.
right.
Like, the worst thing that you're going to have to deal with, the more dates you go on with someone, the harder it is to end it if you decide to end it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
For
you're
sure.
you're a direct person. You're not afraid of a little, a man crying,
Little conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you see
Yeah.
it
I
all the
see it
time.
too much at work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the
No,
advice.
my pleasure. Yeah, just enjoy this time. Try not to overthink it. Trust your instincts. Prioritize your needs, especially early on. When you actually build rapport with any of these guys, then you can start not necessarily change your behavior, but like when you build an emotional connection with someone, then, it makes sense to start empathizing with them and being considerate for them and going out of your way for them and showing them that you're willing to make a priority to a certain extent. After 1 or 2 dates, fuck, you don't owe these people anything, right?
I know, you're so right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents. But as far as the DA, have fun with it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Fuck it.
It'd be great if you can pull them over. Before I let you go, give me one bit of advice in terms of how do I get out of a ticket when I get pulled over? What's one thing?
Don't cry. Do not, like, when girls cry, I'm like, fuck off right now. Like, unless you're 16, unless you're a teenager who like just got their license, don't cry. But admit that you're wrong, admit that, and give the real reason. So if you're just like, if I pulled somebody over for speeding, it's like, what are we in a rush for? Like, oh, like I'm running over like to get my mom who fell, like some bullshit excuse or like whatever. Just be like, I wasn't paying attention and I was just speeding.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm already
just
doing
be
that.
Honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like, honestly, a lot of cops, like, I'm not a traffic unit, so I pull traffic to hunt. So I'm looking for stolen cars, guns, narcotics, and wanted people. So I'm not like just stopping people just because like they're going 10 over. Like, I could give a fuck, to be honest. Like, unless you're driving egregiously, don't really care. You know what I mean?
Is that why no one gets pulled over in LA, because they don't have enough cops for that? And I just feel like they're fighting real crime. Yeah.
Like I work for a sheriff's office, so I'm a solo, like I ride in a solo car, deputy, whatever. And we go to like, we call them house calls. So it's domestic disturbances, stolen vehicles in progress, menacing in progress. Like, you're going to all these hot calls, you know what I mean? And then you get slower calls too, like, hey, someone stole my car yesterday. So you take like an over the phone report or whatever. But if I'm driving around, I work 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. So kind of like an early graves, I guess. If I'm driving around at midnight and I'm running plates, I'm not really looking for the like 16-year-old kid who's coming home late from the prom. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for like legit criminals. I don't give a shit about that. Like, so if you are getting pulled over and it's a cop on a motorcycle, that's a traffic cop who's probably going to give you a ticket. I'll say that. So most like traffic cops ride motorcycles, or they have unmarked like Challengers or Chargers or something.
Because it's like they're going to give you a ticket because it's like what they do.
Yeah, like that's they're literally, I won't say they have a quota, but they definitely are. They're supposed to meet like a certain standard, I guess. So yeah, it's sometimes like, I'm looking for like, if you have no plates on your car, that's a weird, like a lot of stolen cars have no license plates on them, or you know what I mean? So like, there's just certain things that all we need is a violation to legally stop you and identify you. So, but just be honest. Hey, I was on my phone. I was looking at my maps. Like, honestly, like just be straight up. And most of the time, regular non-traffic cops are pretty, if you're respectful and you seem like a normal dude and your history, like your license, you have insurance, you have registration, they're probably going to give you a warning.
Good to know. All right. Well, thank you for the free advice. Have fun dating out there. Please let us know once you shoot your shot what happens.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Been listening like since the beginning. Literally love you guys. So
we appreciate it. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
All
Bye.
Right, take care. Bye-bye.
Parenting never stops, even when you have a full-time job. But thanks to our sponsor, Nanit, we are able to check in on our daughter at any point during the day.
I'm obsessed with the Nanit. As a dad, unfortunately, I can't be around River every moment of every day. But when I am gone, I still have the Nanit, and I can always check in when she's napping throughout the day. I can listen to her sleep. It really helps me feel closer and more connected with River than ever before. And I absolutely recommend the Nanit to any parent out there. It is the absolute go-to way to stay closer to your baby sleeping.
It's really nice because they have an option where you can turn on the sound in your baby's room as like background noise. So you can turn that on. You can do anything else on your phone. You can take calls. You can clean your house, and you can still hear what's going on in your baby's room. The high-def camera captures every precious moment. So not only did we know that River was safe and sound, but we also never miss a milestone. They have this like video history. You can go back, see what they did throughout the night. You can go back and just like rewatch. I like to watch like whenever Nick puts her down, I like to like see the sweet moments that they share with each other.
Nanit also allows you to track your baby's breathing timing, sleeping patterns, and developmental milestones. You can receive personalized insights and get a crystal clear video view as well, all on your Nanit app.
This adds up to more sleep for your baby and more rest for you. In fact, Nanit parents get an extra 36 nights of sleep a year, and Nanit babies sleep 10% longer than average. The Nanit Baby Monitor has won over 25 awards in 2024 alone, including from the New York Times, Wirecutter, Parents Magazine, and The Skim.
The Nanit Baby Monitor is the MVP of baby gear. It's the one baby item we can't live without. And of course, we have a special offer for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order with code DREAM20. That's DREAM20 at nanit.com. Now, again, that's nanit.com, NANIT.com. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Listen, people, we talk about online therapy all the time because it is helping people finally address the mental health that they should have been doing all the time. Therapy can be super intimidating. We get it. Also, it can be costly and inconvenient, and that's where BetterHelp comes into play. It is more affordable than in-person therapy. It is incredibly convenient because you can do it wherever you are or wherever you're most comfortable. You can do it a face-to-face chat. You can do voice-to-voice. It's also just kind of difficult to find a therapist that you connect with, because part of it, before BetterHelp, you'd have to ask a friend or just go online and read reviews. But with BetterHelp, you can try a therapist out. And then if you don't vibe with them, no problem. You can try as many as you need until you finally connect with one that you really want to open up with. Start prioritizing your mental health the same way you do your physical health, the same way you prioritize what you put in your body. Your mind is very important in terms of your mental health, man. The things that you spend your energy on, make sure you're doing it with things that make you feel loved and supported. And therapy has really helped me do that, and it can help you as well. So no matter the problem that you're stressing out about, whether it's general anxiety, work problems, relationship problems, money problems, you need to get it off your chest, and get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Also, we know that the holidays, as joyful as they can be, can also be stressful and sometimes sad for y'all. So make sure, if that's the case for you, check out BetterHelp. Therapy also just has helped me just be more grateful in life. So let the gratitude flow in your life with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/VIALL today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/VIALL. Shopping for the men in your life can be a total guessing game, especially around the holidays. Help them find the perfect sweet spot between comfort and style with Mack Welden. Mack Welden is a men's clothing brand that sells underwear, socks, tees, and other basics. Mack Welden has a lot of great pieces that the men in your life will absolutely love. One being the Ace sweatpants are their best-selling fan favorites for a reason. Their sweatpants are crafted with micro-brushed French terry and have a modern tailored silhouette, giving this old pair of sweatpants a major upgrade. We know that the men in your life are wearing those raggedy, just crappy looking sweatpants. Upgrade their entire wardrobe with all the basics, their tees and their sweatpants, all that you need with Mack Welden. They got a lot of great selections. Be sure to check them all out. Whether you're looking for light as air underwear, anti-odor tees, or sweaters with lightweight warmth, you can find the perfect gift for him all in one place at MackWeldon.com/gifting. Again, that's MackWeldon.com/gifting. And right now you can build and save up to 15% on a pack of underwear, socks, and tees. So why not upgrade this underwear drawer this holiday season? It makes a great stocking stuffer. Let me just say that. Get the perfect gifts for him from Mack Welden. Go to MackWeldon.com/gifting and get 25% off your first order of $125 or more. That's MackWeldon.com/gifting. How's it going?
Hi there.
What's your name?
So my name's Katie, and I'm 28 years old.
How can we help, Katie?
So my boyfriend lived a double life, and he ghosted me when I found out, and I'm just trying to figure out how I move on without any closure, any answers.
Okay. How long are you dating this guy?
Okay, so we were dating for a year and a half.
When you
and
say
we were
double
long-
life, what do you mean?
So basically the entire thing is we were long distance. We flew to each other. We spent probably every month, if not more, 2 times a month together. We spent Christmases, Valentine's Day, we spent basically everything coupley that normal couples do. It wasn't like a long distance where we don't see each other. So he also tours for a living. He works for bands, so I would also fly out to a few days of the tour, and we basically just made everything work really well.
Mhm.
In June, we went on a romantic trip for our 1-year anniversary. We went to a wedding together. We met each other's families. We made plans for the remainder of the year. In July, I wrote the bar exam to move to the States with him, and everything was kind of just perfect and falling into place. The day after I wrote my bar, I went to go visit him on the road, and we spent his birthday together. We traveled around for a few days. We discussed visiting my family post-tour. We were talking about moving in together. I booked a trip to see him the last days of tour, which is like 10 days after that.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little bit of backstory before the double life came in, because there's kind of like a two-part to this. August 10th, 3 days before my flight took off, we got into an argument, and the next day he just called and broke up with me out of the blue. Completely blindsided. I'm like packed to leave.
What were you
I'm
guys fighting
beside
about?
myself. Like, so my dog had got into an onion, so she had a little bit of onion toxicity. She was very sick, and I asked him to FaceTime me, and instead he went to the bar. So I just thought, I'm like watching my dog if she could die, and he's out at the bar with his friends drinking.
Gotcha. Okay. And you confronted him about that, and
Yes.
it turned into a fight.
And it turned into a fight, and it was kind of a texting thing, and I expected it to just be the next day, "Hey, that wasn't cool. We should have done that better." And instead, I got a call, and he's like, "We're breaking up."
Okay. How old is this guy?
He's 29.
How old are you again?
28.
Okay.
So when the tour ended, I went to his city to talk through everything. We spent like 30 hours together. We were
So
talking.
after you broke up,
Yes, I flew to his city to talk again, to talk through the whole breakup, because this was on FaceTime.
yeah, but just to be clear, he knew you were coming. He agreed to have you come
Yes.
out. You stayed with him.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you flew out there after you broke up, stayed with him, and then for about 30 hours, did you guys get back together temporarily, or you fight all weekend? Fight plus hook up? Like, what was that weekend like?
It was talking for like 30 hours about everything. It was the healthiest breakup. We like went for dinners, we went for dates, everything. And then I flew home and then flew back a week later for my birthday. And then we basically decided remain exclusive, work on our issues, see how things go. So this is the beginning of September.
Gotcha.
So not fully broken up, kind of taking a step back to work on things.
Just out of curiosity, in that 30-hour conversation, did he acknowledge his behavior regarding your dog?
No, he didn't.
He didn't? Okay, interesting.
No.
Well, not surprising, but
The gist of it was basically, I'm tired of doing things for you, and I
Okay.
want to do more for me.
okay. Well, that's honest. I think it's important that you recognize that.
Yes. And in retrospect, when I like go through it, that's a very important part, that he basically was saying he didn't care.
Correct. Yes.
Um,
Over something that's like kind of simple and trivial,
yeah, it was very easy to just give a phone call when your dog is very sick. She's like a little tiny Shih Tzu. She's not like a big dog that could take it.
And just to verify, I mean, I'm assuming that while there has been the occasional moment here or there throughout your relationship where you needed him to be a boyfriend and support you,
Mhm.
that he wouldn't, who knows what he would say, but it's not as if every week there was a new dramatic thing you needed him to give your attention. And he, like if I were talking to him, would he be like, oh my God, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I guess I should have done that. But like it was every other day, there was something new with this person. And it was just like, that's not what's going on here, to be clear. Yeah.
No, there
Okay.
was nothing else. I also don't think that he liked that I was stressed out about writing the bar exam, which I'm sure you know, it's a 12-hour exam. It's extremely stressful.
To
My
be a
whole
lawyer,
life
you
was
mean?
dependent
Yeah.
on that. Yes.
When you say writing in the bar exam, what do you mean by that versus taking? Is that just a figure of speech? Or?
Just a different phrase.
Okay. All right. I
Yes.
was curious.
Yeah.
So and what you're saying, he had a certain opinion about what?
Just that his life was as stressful as mine. He sells t-shirts for bands, and I'm writing the bar exam and teaching myself US law. I didn't go to a US school, so I taught myself US law for 6 months, and I'm writing a 12-hour exam. And it would very much be, well, my life is stressful because I'm selling t-shirts.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was very dismissive. And I mean, I tried to not be judgmental because some people have just as tough, but I mean, I did need a little bit more support given my circumstance for a few months.
Sure. But let's be judgmental for a hot
Yeah.
second. I'm just curious, while someone in your position who's, investing in themselves as much as you are, you seem like a very attractive young lady. Why are you wasting your time on a guy selling t-shirts for a band?
I think it was just very charismatic, very charming.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Sold me the whole thing, and like I'm sure you understand too. It's exciting traveling around, going to visit, and like always jetting off. It was like a cool lifestyle.
Sure. But it wasn't really his lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know?
No, correct. It was him working for other people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I just want, you called in and your biggest goal when you called in was to find the closure that you didn't think he was giving you, right?
Yes.
And when you told me the story, and it makes all the sense in the world why you told me the story that you did, but your story was you listed a bunch of facts about why this breakup was surprising, And so when you listed that off, you were basically saying, we celebrated our anniversary, we went to weddings together. You essentially told me a bunch of nice things about your relationship, right? Which is normal. I get that.
Yeah.
You're painting a picture of why you were as upset or caught off guard as you were. So I understand that context that why you said that. But part of that context that you are leaving out when you're telling the story of your relationship are things like, he didn't give a fuck when my dog was dying type of things. I know you shared that story, but I'm just saying, as you remember your relationship, it's really important to remember everything about your relationship. And in addition to that, see it for with a little bit more honesty than you did. When you were dating him, it was easier for you to kind of overlook the fact that you weren't dating the musician in the band or like the manager or some high level person. You were dating someone who wanted, like you, quite honestly, to enjoy this very exciting lifestyle. So he agreed to have this, basic job that literally anyone can do with any education level so that he, and I'm imagining he didn't make a ton of money because jobs like those are just like, hey, if you want to ride with us, if you want to hang out with us and travel, and we'll give you incredible access and you can sell t-shirts for us, you can have this job, right?
Yeah.
Cool, right?
Totally.
And that's great for a young person, fresh out of college or in college, whatever, guy's about to hit 30 and you're going to school to be a lawyer and you're investing yourself. I don't know. Maybe I'm being hypercritical here. I'm just saying it sounds like maybe he wasn't your equal in the department of careers, right? And
Totally.
I don't know what his career plans were. I don't know what his future goals were. Doesn't sound like he had a ton of plans or specific ones. I mean, for him, selling t-shirts was, I guess, complicated. I don't know.
Totally. For some reason.
Yeah. So listen, I don't know how long you've been listening to this show. You don't need him for closure. And we can just have a fun little exercise to figure
Nick,
that out.
There's even more to the story to this.
Oh, well, tell me, share the story.
We haven't even got to the part yet.
Okay.
So all of that said, September he goes on tour and it's all normal. FaceTiming, good night, morning, etc. Basic relationship stuff. Nothing's changed. We booked a trip in October for me to go visit. We booked concert tickets. We planned to open the bar results together, which was the most important day of my life. September 28th, we FaceTimed. Everything is great. We made plans for dinner the next day. I think nothing happens. That night I go on Instagram and I see that his ex is moving to his city and we've had issues with her the whole time. So I simply say, hey, why didn't you tell me your ex was moving to your city? And I didn't have to find out on Instagram. And thinking it was a basic respect thing, I just don't want to find that out on Instagram. He got very aggressive. He got very rude. A lot of mean things were said. Then the next day I said, okay, things have cooled off. Can we have a sober conversation? And he replies, he's not super stoked on a call right now. And I had never heard from him again. And I tried to message, figure everything out. I had a flight booked 10 days later. I had concert tickets, just completely ghosted. He replied to zero, but he sent me money on PayPal to buy Sabrina Carpenter tickets. But couldn't send me a sorry or apology or anything.
What do you mean to buy? He just paid you for your half of the ticket type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started racking my brain and kind of thinking, well, it's the ex. Is it somebody else? Is it what could have happened? So then I thought back and looked where he was when this happened. And our fight had taken place in the same city where he was previously linked to another girl. This girl had messaged me back in April saying that she had a relationship with him when he posted a photo of us on Instagram. He swore it was a flirty friend that went too far one time and it was a drunk kiss, swore up and down. And I was just so distraught over this. So I just assumed that that's all it was. I forgave him. I worked through it. I was in love. I tried to move past it.
Okay, fair enough. But
so we got to talking, and the girl had sent me over 30 screenshots over the course of 11 out of 14 months that we were together of him telling her he's in love with her. He was flying her out to see her. He had her meet his family. There's photos of her together. She would be flown out a few days before he would see me. She was flown out to different tour dates. So he had an entire second girlfriend basically our entire relationship, and I had no idea any of this. And
Well,
I
actually,
put
you
them
did.
both.
You did,
He
actually.
cheated the whole entire time.
No, but I want you to recognize that for part of this relationship, you actually knew the truth. You just chose to ignore it,
Yes.
you know?
Yes, I did.
And I only point this out because it can be very scary to be ghosted in the manner in which you did. And it can be very scary to be in a relationship with someone, seemingly trust them, only to be blindsided to find out they had this whole secret relationship that you didn't, know about, right?
Yeah.
And then you can spiral and be like, well, how can I trust anyone? All men are pieces of shit, blah, 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 blah. Like, how could I even... Like, I had no idea, but like you did. You had an idea,
Yeah.
right? And
I had a feeling.
not only did you have a feeling, she reached out and told you. And you were like, nah, I don't believe her.
I know.
And like, that was nuts that you didn't believe her. You didn't want to believe her was the truth. Like, how?
Mhm.
I mean, listen, like, think about it, right? This random girl reached out, says, I'm in a relationship with this guy, right? You confront
Mhm.
him. And his response isn't like, I don't even know who that fucking is, which it still could have been a lie. But like, I don't know. I don't even know what a valid excuse would be, because it's like, why would someone like this reach out? That's the obvious question, right? So
Totally,
it could have
yeah.
been like an absolute crazy person, but his response was, oh, this was like a flirty friend, but it's like, it's
Mhm.
not what she thinks it is. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, what is he? Is he flirty friends with someone who should be in a mental hospital? Like, why would someone think they're in a relationship with someone when they're not? That's crazy, right? You know, what's more believable, that he's friends with someone who should be in a mental institution, or he's lying,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And it was obvious, but you just didn't want to see it. You didn't want to believe it. You just completely chose to, in your mind, it was easier for you to tell yourself that she was crazy or that she had some sort of problem, and you just chose to believe him, not based off of anything that made sense or evidence. Your gut didn't even tell you that he was being honest, but you were just like, fuck it all. I'm just going to lean into this thing, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can say that now with kind of honestly, like, oh, well, this is, a big part of this is kind of on me. Not to make yourself feel bad, but now it's a lot more empowering than just be like, well, fuck, how can I prevent this in the future? This won't be the last guy who lies to you, and this won't be the last person who, is capable of things that you don't think you're capable of. But you still can prevent this stuff from happening by just paying attention and trusting your gut and not being afraid of the answers. Recognize that, listen, unfortunately, people do lie. And in a long distance relationship, it gives people opportunities that people in not long distance relationships, would have. Doesn't mean they're all cheating, but like just being aware of that, or just being aware that like in the first 6 months, you don't really know anyone. So if someone, in the first year, when someone gives you weird behavior early on, it's really important to follow up on that,
Mhm.
to not give them any benefit of the doubt, because keep in mind, they're, especially in the first few months of dating, these people are total fucking strangers.
Yeah. Totally.
And so they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. They don't deserve your trust. You can choose to trust someone when you start dating someone, but when something comes up that raises a bunch of red flags, you don't choose to trust then. You just like, all right, well, I was going to trust you. Something came up. I have to quote unquote investigate this or follow through on this and ask some questions. And at that point, you need to trust yourself more than you trust them. You need to trust your instincts. When their answers don't make sense, you need to ask follow-up questions. You need to dig deeper. And the more direct and more tougher the questions are, the easier it should be to answer if they're not lying. Again, you're going to
Totally.
law school. You don't need me saying this to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, like, you do not need closure from this guy, and I want you more than anything to have to call and stop telling yourself that he has something that you need. He doesn't, right? Think about it, right? Let's say you got your way. Let's say I was like, hey, listen, I have the power to make him answer your call, and I'm going to give you what you asked for. Let's say I was a genie, and you're like, Nick, I just really want to talk to him one more time so I can get the closure that I need. I'm like, all right. Well, I'll make sure I'll make that happen for you. What could he possibly say to you that would make you leave that conversation feeling better than you do now?
I think that what I was thinking about this, it's not so much apology, it's just now I feel like almost the year and a half that I spent with him, all the memories are like tainted. It's
Yeah,
either he
they
was
are.
cheating or he was not, or it was post cheating.
I understand
So
that, but I
now-
want you to think about my question. And you're right. That's true. That memory is tainted. Do you really want the past year and a half to be nothing but great memories? Like, listen, you're a young enough person that a year and a half of your life, I'm sure you had fun times. I'm sure you had great experiences. You got to see some cool shit. You went to some concerts. You got to travel. It wasn't a total waste. As far as the
Yeah.
memory of you two, yeah, I don't know. It's not what you plan on it being, right? Like,
Yeah.
who gives a
Yeah.
shit? But the point is, back to my original question, what could he have said to you that would have made you leave that conversation better than you felt going in, and as if you could move on with a full heart without any, what could he have, what could he have said?
Yeah, I guess maybe that he did care about me the last year and a half, but I guess it
What
doesn't
would have
matter
that have
because he
done?
disrespected me.
Yeah. So let's role play that. He's like, oh, but I do care
Yeah.
about you. And like, our memories they mean so much to me. It's like, yeah, I was definitely cheating on you. But like, don't you just
Mhm.
know that like those moments we had when we were together, they were really special. Would that have made you feel better?
No, probably not because
Okay.
they were still you're
Yeah.
still cheating the whole time
Exactly.
intentionally.
So like, that's what, listen,
Yeah.
it's a rhetorical question I'm asking you. The answer is he couldn't have said shit to make you feel better. In the history of these closer conversations that everyone like you thinks they need to have in order to move on, no one's ever had that conversation and been like, I'm glad I had that conversation. The only time they're glad they have that conversation is when it goes so badly. They're like, oh my God, you know what?
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't know why I wanted that conversation in the first place, but you were so off-putting in this conversation. I finally realized I'm just totally glad to be done with you. That's best case. But you don't need to have that conversation with him in order to get to that place. You have all this information. You have a track record of behavior. At this point, all you need to do is be grateful you found out, that you didn't waste one more time with him. Thankfully, it doesn't sound like you opened the results with him.
No, they're the next 2 days actually, so I haven't even found out yet.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Regardless, whatever happens, you won't have that memory of sharing it with him. So that's a plus,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you have a reason to be sad and you have a reason to, have this affect you because it's a shitty situation. But when you go down memory lane,
Mhm.
don't make a bad situation worse by feeling like, I don't know, you lost something meaningful. You didn't.
Yeah.
You found out the truth that, quite frankly, you were given months ago, but you just chose to ignore it. This is a second chance at knowing the truth. So it's an opportunity. So
And why do you think that people like just ghost after such a long time rather
I
than
don't
just
know. I mean, you're trying.
break up or something?
Look. All I could do is guess. You and I aren't
Yeah.
capable of doing what he did, right? Like, I
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah.
Why did he do it? I don't know. He's a liar. Maybe he has some past childhood trauma. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to impress his band and the people he works for. Maybe they're all young musicians who like think it's cool to have multiple girlfriends. I don't know why he did it. Point is, he did. And it has nothing to do with you is more important. And your ego probably doesn't even want to hear that. You want to feel like you're so beautiful and so intelligent and so wonderful that even if he is a piece of shit with everyone else, he's going to treat you like the queen that you are. But that's just not how life works, right? Like, he is who he is. And you want to find someone who sees that in you because you're not for everyone.
Yes.
No one is, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to find someone who just like thinks you're really pretty or was smart? Or do you want someone who just really sees you for who you are, really feels grateful to have you in your life, wants to make you a priority, does more than just fly you out occasionally, things like that?
Mhm.
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to bet if you were to go down memory lane and nitpick some of your memories, there's probably a lot of other moments that were kind of funny that you brushed under the rug that you could go back and be like, well, next time someone does that, or when I ask this, or when he does this, or yada, 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 I should ask more questions because that might have meant they had another girlfriend.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So like there are
Yeah.
a million other things you just chose to ignore that next time don't choose to ignore. Look into them. You can't control other people. There are
Mhm.
unfortunately people out there that, I don't know why people do what they do. There's a million reasons why. Their own insecurities, their baggage, maybe I don't know. None of it's really a valid excuse, but everyone has their bullshit reasons why they do shitty things. But what you can
Yeah.
control is how you respond to these people. You can get better at setting your boundaries, you're communicating your expectations, trusting your gut, asking follow-up questions when things don't seem right. Those are all things you can get better at. And now is an opportunity to do that. And those are the things I would reflect on right now so that when you do get back out there and
Yeah.
date, you can still go after what you want and not necessarily be a cynic, but just be like armed with a little bit more awareness and knowledge to better protect yourself
Mhm.
against people like him.
Yeah, because I definitely don't want to be in this situation again.
And next time, don't have a 30-hour
Yeah.
conversation about something that isn't a hard ask. When he acts the way he did when your dog got sick, Like that should be kind of a deal breaker for you.
Totally, especially like she could have died.
Sure. Yeah. And even whether she did or didn't, like this was something he should have made you feel like he gave a shit. And he didn't. He made you feel like you're inconveniencing him over something that you made very clear was like important to you. Like, hey, like I'm sad here and I want some emotional support from my boyfriend. You shouldn't even have to ask shit like that. And you did. And then when you did ask, he made you feel bad for it. That should be enough for someone like you to say, who is this person I'm dating? What is this type of behavior? And you wasted 30 hours of your life, not even mentioning you got on a plane, went to go visit him to have this conversation. You didn't even get what you wanted out of that conversation, and you still chose to continue the relationship. So clearly you need to do a much better job of holding people accountable for how they treat you. And again, you need to do a better job of trusting your gut. And when someone does something, you say to yourself, this is fucked up. Like, I would not treat someone like this. And I don't know why I'm putting up with someone treating me like this. Then you should just trust that you're right. And it doesn't matter what they say or how they respond. If they choose to try to gaslight you or manipulate you or just justify their actions, it's a waste of your time. Like, I'm not going to sit there and try to explain to you why you handled this poorly. And if you don't think that you did, then like, that's all the information I need.
Yeah, totally. So, especially when it's something very important to me versus going out to a bar. Like that is a very easy situation to be like, okay, well, it's more important to my girlfriend. Something tragic's happening. Or I could go drink beers at the bar with my friends. Like that's a very easy thing to decide.
Yeah. And yet it wasn't easy for you. You know, you were looking for reasons why he made, like, it's like, I don't know, this makes no sense to me and I feel wrong, but I guess I'll hear him out because, you know, it's easier for me to give him the benefit of the doubt than, you liked him and I get it. You didn't want to break up with him, but that's how you protect yourself. Protecting yourself is to give people the opportunity to show you who they are. You can choose to trust early in a relationship, but when they start showing you who they are, you got to follow up on that. You got to ask questions. You have to be willing to meet someone, get excited about them, and then sadly be disappointed about them. But that's better in 6 to 12 months than 3 to 5 years.
Totally.
What if you had moved out for this guy? You probably wouldn't have because he had other girlfriends and that would have been kind of hard on him. But like, you get what I'm saying. And it seems like you understand all this, but like someone in your position, when something like this happens to them, it's very easy to victimize yourself and be like, I don't even know how I'm going to move forward. I can't trust anyone anymore. I can't believe someone lied to me. I was duped. I was conned. You kind of conned yourself, if I'm being honest. I get it. He was charismatic and funny. There's plenty of charismatic people out there. Beware of the charismatic people. Like, charismatic people are, they're charismatic. And so they're attractive to, I guess, a lot of people, right? But you need to find substance, right? Because if you're looking for a fun weekend, with fun people, he sounds like the perfect guy. He's fun. He's funny. He's charismatic. He'll introduce you to some cool people. You'll have a good time. You'll see a good show. Great. Looking for a long-term partner, someone who's your equal, who's like understands the effort and energy you've put into yourself and your career. He was clearly not this guy.
No.
And his job kind of told you that, right? Like you're putting so much effort and energy into yourself. You need to meet someone. They don't have to be a lawyer. They don't even have to be rich. They just have to be passionate about what they do. They have to prioritize themselves in their career. They have to be willing to like demonstrate and talk about them setting a goal and going after said goal. And maybe, I don't know, this was, but this doesn't sound like him. His goal was to hang out with fun and exciting people, and he was willing to do whatever he had to do that and sell shirts. And then he tried to glorify it by like making it sound like he was so busy because he wanted to feel like his job was as important as what you were doing. And he oversold it.
Totally. Yeah, it was essentially that. And I mean, it kind of also, you don't want to also judge people and be like,
yeah, you do.
Okay, well, we're in a relationship and I'm better. I mean, when you're in the relationship, you don't want to
I know, but my point is like,
say that to someone. But
you don't want to say it, and I get what you're saying, but like the reality is, like you do. You should. Like, it's okay to judge people. To yourself, at least. We do it all the time. People, and again, it's less about judging people. It's just like you deserve someone who is at your level. And he's not. This guy is not at your level. Because you're thinking about long term. you were able to, I guess, dumb yourself down to his level when you wanted to have a good time and have an exciting life, and he was able to provide that. And you were willing to ignore your long-term needs as a human being, and and what you needed from your partner. Again, I want to emphasize this less about him selling T-shirts and more about the fact that like this wasn't a very ambitious person. It sounds like he didn't have a lot of long-term goals.
30 years old, you should be wanting to do more with your life.
And you do, and you are doing that. And so when you get out of the whole like you're still young, so it makes a lot of sense. But eventually, like life will slow down. You'll get even more busy in your career, and you'll give less shits because you'll have already done it about like traveling with a band because you'll be like, yeah, I did that once. It was kind of fun, but honestly, they're just normal people, and they're honestly like kind of weird too, and like it's not as cool as it sounded when I was younger, right? And he'll still be doing that lame shit, And if you were in a relationship with this guy, it would just like you would get a bigger and bigger ick by the guy who's like still selling T-shirts into his 40s just so he can hang out with a band that's not as cool as they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, I guess it's fun at like 22, but I was kind of getting sick of it.
Yeah.
When I went out, it really wasn't for me. It wasn't that cool, and I was like kind of tired of it. I was ready to kind of settle down and move, and that's kind of where I was headed. So yeah, that's totally kind of where it probably branched off. That where the breakup initially happened is I was ready to start moving in, making steps, getting married, and he wants to go drink at the bar, go screaming at the bar with his friends, and go get drunk every night.
He also wants a girl who thinks what he does is so fucking cool.
For his ego.
Yeah. Well, because what he does actually, when you break it down, isn't. And he knows that. I bet when you met him, you thought he was so fucking cool.
Totally, I did. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you made him feel that way, and you gassed him up, and you looked at him with these puppy dog eyes, and the more you got to know him, the more you're like, I don't know, he's kind of like, am I dating a loser? I don't know.
That's how, it's funny. That's how the other girl, because now like we've talked and we've become friends, and she said the same thing. Like, it's like, oh, like I'm going to visit you in your city, like all of that. We were both kind of like that. It was kind of, you're sold this like rock star lifestyle, and then you take it back, and he wasn't actually the rock star. He was selling T-shirts for them.
But if I were you, I would want you to have a little bit more frustration with yourself and less frustration with him.
I do feel that, because I do feel like, looking back, I hate that I was so in love that I ignored it, because I shouldn't have, and I should have just listened to the girl more.
What were you so in love with, out of curiosity?
I mean, the whole time he did when we were together, he treated me well. Like, we would go, and he was my best friend. It was very much a best friend relationship, and it was just nice times together, and he was very caring to me. We got along very well. Like, it was very much someone that I hadn't connected with like that before.
Okay.
So there was good times, to be fair.
Okay. That's valid. My point still stands. Someone could be nice, easy to talk to, but you still have to pay attention to the red flags.
Totally. And I think that's one of my issues, that I wanted it so badly that I ignored it, because I wanted it to work out.
Yeah. So there's a lot to learn here. I look back on my breakup when I was 28, was, the person I got engaged to at then, and, certainly was devastated when we broke up, and it was hard to get over. About 6 months after that, I quickly thought this was the best thing that's ever happened to me, without being cliche, because I learned a lot about myself. I reflected about myself. I finally looked in the mirror and kind of acted like, what role did I play in this, so to speak, right? What could I learn from this, And I very much changed my approach to dating, And so I think there's a lot to learn here for you, right? And,
Absolutely.
I don't think you need closure from him. I mean, you got plenty of closure, hopefully, on this conversation, but I do think there's
I did, yeah,
plenty to learn from here, and going forward, you're a lot more armed, hopefully, when you go out there and date, because again, there's people do lie, people do shitty things, but they usually show you and they usually tell you somehow. You just have to be willing to pay attention and listen, and not want to force something that, like, it's like, yeah, they're nice, but, and pay attention to the but.
Yeah, and I think that it's also with long distance, it's easier for people to hide it, because they only need to do it in person for so long. So it allowed him to maybe keep up the facade longer than if we were in person all the time.
For sure.
Because it would be 2 weeks at a time that he could just ignore one of us and then go for the other. So it was, I guess, easier to hide the red flags longer, not having to see me in person all the time.
Yeah, a little bit, but like I said, this girl, a year ago reached out to you and said, I'm in a relationship with this guy?
3 months before we broke up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long. It was only April, and we broke up in August.
But you still completely ignored her.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully this was helpful.
It was super helpful, and I mean, it feels better, and I feel like I don't need to continue to, like, message or try to reach out or do anything like that because it truly, what could you say?
Yeah, truly. You're allowed to be sad. That's a normal response to something that obviously was disappointing, and I'm sure on some
Mhm.
levels traumatic for you to find out. But the best thing you could do going forward is to very much control your thoughts. When you have those
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings of sadness, when you find yourself missing memories of him and glorifying him in your mind, you have to actively tell yourself to stop it. And then you have to actively remind yourself of the shitty things he did. You have to ask yourself,
Mhm.
it's like you really do. You have to kind of have these conversations with yourself because it's your default is to go down that memory lane and to glorify the relationship. This
Mhm.
is what we all do. And so you kind of have to program yourself through just kind of these a conscious and just be like, hey, stop it. He did this to me. He did this. I should have listened. I had all the signs. All the conversations you're having with yourself right now are keeping you stuck. You're asking yourself questions that you actually know the answers to, but you're not willing to answer them. These are all the things that make you wonder why this happened or makes you think that you need to get a hold of them, because like people shouldn't ghost and I need to have one more last conversation with them. Like, no, you don't need to waste
Yeah.
30 more hours for him to say, God only knows what. This is not someone who ever respected you or deserved your time of attention. He wasn't your equal. He did you a favor, and now it's time to actually see it for what it is, accept it, learn from it, and move forward.
Totally. Yeah, there's no going back, so there's no point.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
now just it's less about the actual. To me, it's more about not actual going back. It's about changing your perspective going forward. I want in the next couple days when you get these results, hopefully you get good news. But I want it to be about the result. I don't want a moment during that day of you waking up being like, I wish I was sharing it with someone. I wish, and reminiscing your mind how you wish you could have called him to tell him you passed. No, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't,
That's how I wanna feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you should feel.
Yeah, especially it's like, as much as everything in this situation sucked, I wouldn't have wrote the bar if not. So, that is something that I could celebrate and take from this relationship, is that I have a huge career milestone now coming from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can share it with probably a lot of other people you can call, family, friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah.
You did this, you don't really need to share it with anyone else. I mean, I hope you do, but you don't need to.
I will, but yes, exactly, it's for myself mainly.
Yeah.
It's for me to move, it's for me to do better, it's for me to advance my career, and he was just, like, something on the side that would have been there.
Yeah. And, you found a girlfriend out of it.
Yeah, totally.
There you go. Now, if you do continue to talk with this girl, do not
Mhm.
talk about him. One of you two probably will, at least at first, keep the other person in your life to give yourself the green light to complain about him, talk about him.
Mhm.
Listen, do what you need to do to get over him, but just remember, anytime you talk about him or think about him is energy you are giving him that he's not asking for. It's energy you could be putting into something else, someone else, so just remember that when you talk to her, don't talk about him.
I'm gonna give her that advice as well, because that's something good for both of us.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
just think a lot of times in these situations early on, it's, you guys obviously understand each other. You have a common gripe.
Mhm.
It's just very easy for you guys to get on the phone and talk about him. Even if you're talking shit,
Yeah.
it's not productive.
Yeah, it just pushes us back really.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. Good
This
luck.
was very helpful.
Let us know if you
Thank
passed
you.
or not. Okay.
I will. Hopefully the next 2 days. It's like this week. So I've been waiting since July. So it's taken long enough.
How do you feel? You feel confident about it?
I walked out thinking I passed, and I taught myself because I wrote the Canadian bar and I taught myself the US bar by myself. So I feel good about it, as good as I could hopefully feel. So best case scenario, I pass and never have to look at it again.
All right. Well, hopefully that's the case. And if not, you'll do it again and you will certainly eventually pass.
Totally. It's just another test over and over again.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, good luck with everything. Keep investing in yourself. Start looking at dating your equals because you definitely weren't. You're not the 22-year-old girl anymore who gets excited about like shiny things.
Yeah, and musicians and all of that. It's not that fun. It's like you saw how the sausage is made. It's not as cool as it seems.
Truly. And, listen, I don't know. Listen, if you meet a professional athlete or another entertainer, buyer beware. Just know that is a lifestyle that is a breeding ground for this type of behavior. I'm not saying that everyone in this space does shit like that, but,
Mhm.
Like, if you are going to date an athlete or a musician, better be prepared to ask a lot of tough questions and know that these guys are used to facing these types of questions. And when things smell off, they almost certainly are.
And they're more likely cheating than a different type of professional would be.
Sure. I mean, anyone can cheat in any profession.
Yeah.
It's just like, just know that this space, gives these people a ton of opportunities to do that. So
Yeah.
again, just don't be afraid to question people. That's not you, I don't know, being whatever you think it might be.
Yeah, it's not being judgmental or rude or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
just asking questions to get.
Someone asked me a long time ago on my questions link on Instagram, what's the difference between, trusting your gut and, being crazy or paranoid,
Yeah.
Trusting your gut is following up on situations that like they present to you. Things come your way, things show up at your front door, and you're just asking follow-up questions for things that don't make sense. Being crazy is looking for things to be mad about, to
Yeah.
making things up in your head when they're actually not doing something. But when they do something that seems a little bit off, it's not crazy to check in, ever.
Yeah. And that's maybe something that why I didn't look into this April situation more, because I didn't trust my gut. I just thought, well, it's crazy. He said this, he said that. I should believe my boyfriend, and obviously I should have trusted my gut there.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of crazy that you ignored her.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, she would have had to literally be crazy.
Yeah.
Or he's lying. And this is also someone he claimed to also be friends with. So it's like, you're friends with a crazy person? I mean, if I were him, if he was telling the truth, wouldn't he be really mad at her? He would have moved differently. And when you get in these situations, ask yourself, what would I have done? What would I have done if someone reached out to my boyfriend and said, I'm in a relationship with him and made up some crazy rumor? How would have I moved? What would I have done to make sure, knowing that you did nothing wrong, that this person on the other end was just making up a story out of nowhere? What would you have done? I'm guessing you wouldn't have done what he did.
I would have called that person. I would have yelled at them. I would have freaked out. I would have made it known they're a liar.
Yeah. And then I would have made sure those two interacted, be like, no, tell him the fucking truth. Do it. You know, not like, and did he do that?
No, that's a good point. He had just ghosted her, and she just kind of went away because she was nervous and scared. She's younger than I am.
He's hoping she'd move on. Of course she's younger.
Yeah.
All he's doing is just recycling, again.
Manipulating girls and just.
Yeah. Again, he's looking for young girls to impress.
Yeah. And get validation for his t-shirt sales.
So, again, lesson learned. You don't want to judge a book by its cover. It has nothing to do necessarily with, there's exceptions to every rule. Doesn't mean like obviously I'm married to someone a lot younger than me, but like, again, how do they operate? How do they move? It is fair to ask follow-up questions, because if people aren't hiding shit, they don't have a problem with you checking in. When they're hiding shit, they get defensive. They get like, why are you asking me this shit? It's just like, I don't know. Like, people are happy to explain what you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. I guess that he did like explain for months. Like, I would call in the morning and be like, I'm having anxiety over this. And he'd be like, well, it was just one kiss. Like, please don't freak out. Like, just groveling about it. So
that's not explaining. That's downplaying and then asking you to ignore your instincts. That's what he did. Please don't freak out. It was nothing. Just trust me. That's not explaining it. That's not going out of his way. That's not what you would have done. That's dismissing and hoping. And that's not
hoping it goes away.
Yeah.
Putting your head in the sand.
Yeah. So next time stuff like this happens, what would you do? Again, like, it's all you have to do is be willing to be disappointed. That's it. That's your shield. Because that's what got you into this place in the first place. You were unwilling to hear the truth because you just wanted everything to be fine. You wanted him to be Mr. Perfect, even though you already knew he wasn't. I mean, he was selling t-shirts, for crying out loud.
It's true.
All right. Well, good luck out there. Let us know if you've tested the bar, and hopefully this was helpful.
Thank you so much. This was absolutely helpful.
All right. Well, take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
And nice to meet you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Helix Sleep. What more can we say about the greatest mattress ever invented? A mattress that everyone in the world should be sleeping on. Helix has the perfect mattress for all the sleepers out there. It doesn't matter if you sleep hot, sleep cold, sleep on your side, sleep on your back, sleep on your stomach. It doesn't matter. Helix has a lineup of 20 unique mattresses designed for all kinds of sleepers. Personally, Natalie and I are sleeping on the Moonlight mattress. We have been for about 4+ years now, and we will never go back. They also have the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections. Helix has mattresses for even the big and tall sleepers, as well as the kids sleepers, designed for the growing bodies and endorsed by child sleep experts. If you don't want to take our word for it, that's no problem. They will give you a 100-night sleep trial. Plus, all their mattresses come with a 10 to 15-year warranty. And if you're not absolutely obsessed with your Helix mattress, send it back and get a refund. But you will love it. You will absolutely be obsessed with it. It's also way more affordable than you would ever think with this type of quality. And you can get a new mattress in a couple of days, man. Like, they have an inventory. They're ready to go. It's actually fun to open up. Stop going to those very unnecessary mattress stores and having to talk to one of those associates and blah, 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 blah. And then, get upselled, all the unnecessary, not necessary with Helix. Helix is offering 25% off site-wide and 2 free dream pillows with any mattress purchase. Go to helixsleep.com/VIALL. Plus, you can get a free bedding bundle, which includes 2 dream pillows, a sheet set, and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/VIALL. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Hey, it's the holidays, and you're probably thinking, what kind of unique gift can I give a loved one in my life? Well, if you haven't heard of Storyworth, do I have a story for you? Storyworth is an amazing gift, perfectly designed for the people that you think they have everything they could possibly want. Give them the gift of thoughtfulness this holiday season, just like I did my dad for Father's Day a few years back. If you're spending time with loved ones this holiday season, chances are you're going to hear a lot of stories, but have you ever wanted to help your loved ones capture those stories for future generations? Storyworth makes it fun and easy to write an entire book of life memories. Every week, Storyworth will email them a thought-provoking question like, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? Or what's the furthest you've ever traveled? Or how did you get to school every day? Storyworth makes the writing process a breeze. All your loved ones will need to do is respond to the emails with a story. Long or short, it doesn't matter. You'll be emailed a copy of your loved one's responses as they are submitted over the course of a year. After that year of fun, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. What a great gift for all those grandparents out there. Families love Storyworth. That's why there are more than 35,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago. Again, so if you want to give a thoughtful gift this year, you got to give them Storyworth. I promise you, your parents, your grandparents, they will cherish this gift for years to come. Help your family members share and capture their stories this holiday season with Storyworth. Go to storyworth.com/VIALL today and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com, STORYWORTH.com/VIALL to save $10 on your first purchase. Storyworth.com/VIALL. How's it going?
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm 28, and I'm just calling to ask about my boyfriend breaking up with me after I tried to break up with him 10 times.
And isn't this good news?
So it is good news. It was just really shocking and out of nowhere.
You're upset about it now because he broke up with you?
Well, so I tried to break up with him a bunch of times because he treated me horribly. But then for the 3 weeks between, he was super awesome. And then out of nowhere, like 5 days before our vacation and the day after he told me to get early bird check-in, he broke up with me after work one day and just said he didn't like me anymore.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. What are you struggling most with about this?
Probably just that it was just like he was begging me to stay with him and not leave him. And then suddenly it wasn't like we're fighting or anything like that. It was like, I just don't like you as much as you like me.
No, I mean, it sounds like your ego's very bruised right now.
Yes. And I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, well, at least you knew. There's that. I mean, speaking of what you think I was going to say, like, what do you think I'm going to say?
I think you were going to say you should have been broken up anyway, and you already tried to break up with him, so this just makes it easier. He's not begging for you back this time.
Yeah, well, there's definitely some truth there. I mean, that being said, like, what are you struggling with the most? Like, what's driving you nuts? Why are you having a hard time getting to the place where you know you need to be and I'm going to say it?
I guess it's just kind of getting fucked over. Like, we'd been dating over 2.5 years. We'd never gone on a vacation together at all. And then we had this trip planned to a place I've always wanted to go really bad. And we didn't even plan it that long ago. So it's not like sticking it out because it's been planned for 5 months. It's just crazy that right before we were about to leave, and actually, we had a smaller vacation plan the next day. This is like a side note, but this just really pisses me off. He makes way more money than me. And I had it all on my Airbnb and all of that. And he like didn't even offer to refund even though it was past the cancellation date. And so it's like I don't really care about the money or anything. It's just everything was like a big fuck you.
All right. Well, I can tell you that you're not really mad at him. You're mad at yourself. Tell me, all the other times you say you're going to break up with him, what was the bad behavior that he was demonstrating where you were like, I don't deserve to be treated this way?
He basically was just like super selfish. And it was even weirder because he would say, I'm so selfish. I'm a weak man. Like I'm a bad man. And I'd be like, okay, so what are you going to do about it? And he would just be like, I'm going to change. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll just try this out. And I kept telling him every time, which is my fault. Okay, I'm not going to do this again. And then I just kept on doing it. But for example, like this is like a really severe example, but I had someone in the hospital in my family for like 9 months, and we'd already been together for like a year and a half at this point. And he would literally get pissed off that I would want to stay the night at the hospital all the time. And we don't live together or anything. And he would just be like, this is just too much for me. And I was like, what do you mean? It's too, like, I still hung out with him all the time and everything. So it was just a bunch of big selfish things and little selfish things also.
Well, like I said, I think deep down, you're frustrated because you're mad at yourself because you know better, and you knew then. You tried to break up with him, but instead of following through with knowing that like dating a guy who honestly like sucks and even admits to himself that he's weak, it's like you decided in that moment to take it as a pity party on his part, so you could be like, oh, you're being too hard on yourself, and then you could be like the supportive girlfriend. In reality, he was just being honest with you.
Right.
And now that he's broken up with you, in the manner in which he broke up with you and the timing that he broke up with you, there's just a couple extra of little like fuck yous, little kind of jabs on the side. And your ego is just like, fuck, man, I wouldn't feel like I did now. Like, it's like you're mad at yourself for allowing him to steal your opportunity to feel empowered by standing up for yourself when you try to stand up for yourself and say, I'm not going to let someone treat me this way. Fuck you, you're out. Instead, you chose to believe something you knew deep down you shouldn't believe, and he played you for a fool, and you're kind of mad at it,
Honestly, I didn't know you were going to say that. So I believe you, though. That's true.
You didn't think I was going to say that?
I thought of all the things you would possibly say because I've listened to all of these, and that one didn't come to my head.
Oh, there you go. All right, well, I'm glad I still got it, But yes, deep down, that's what's going on, it sounds like to me.
Well, the worst thing to me, I still even am like thinking about it at all, is because it wasn't like, oh, we're fighting or anything like that. It was like, I've never even said I love you to him in over 2.5 years. And he's literally like, just out of nowhere, you like me way more than I like you.
Okay, but this is who gives a
what?
shit? This is all your ego talking. So like what you need to do, it's like you can recognize that. You've listened to this show, like, oh, Nick's gonna tell me it's my ego, but like it is, right? And now you need to do something about your ego, because right now, everything you've shared with me in this call tells me that you very much are allowing your ego to drive your dating and relationship decisions. And that's never a recipe for success. You are basing your decisions on who you should invest your time and energy with based off your ego, not your heart. You're not asking yourself, what makes me happy? What makes me feel good? Am I dating someone who makes me a priority, it treats me a certain way, who treats the people I love a certain way? Do I feel lucky to have them in my life? It didn't sound like he did much of any of that, right? He played some games, he sounded like a mess, he did give you an opportunity to, feel like you could fix him. He made you feel bad for him, type of thing. But every step of the way, your ego was like, hey, we could do this. We could do that. This sounds off, but like there's an opportunity here for us to feel special in the long run. And every step of the way, you chose that path, right? And so now, you can't do anything about him, but you have to get better at controlling your ego, because some of these things that you're caring about now, who gives a fuck?
That's true. I guess I shouldn't care about it, but well, the other thing is I was pretty much fine. It sounds weird, but I sent that email like a week ago. And since then I've been fine, except for we're both in the same career. And like our town isn't small at all, or city, but a career, you're going to see each other all the time. And so I went to an event for this career and he was there, and then I was miserable again for like 2 days. And there's literally, I know there's always a way to avoid it, but like in this situation, there's really not a way to just never see him again.
So what? Who cares? You need,
Um,
well, yeah, right now it doesn't feel that way because you are right now, it sounds like kind of a victim to your ego, right? All this man had to say, despite telling you how much he loves you throughout your relationship and you never reciprocating that, all he had to do is say something superficial. You have no idea whether he meant it or not. He just said it and you chose to like take it as truth. And that is, you like me way more than I like you. It's kind of just a mean, dirty thing to say. And he sold it, he pitched it, he delivered it. You took it as fact. And now your ego is just like losing its fucking mind because you're just like, did I? Am I? Is that what he really thinks? Can I, and it's just like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck whether he actually thinks you like, it's a great opportunity to show him that you don't give a fuck. Showing up to these places where you know he'll be and treat him like someone you went to high school with 20 years ago and you kind of remember their name and you don't want to be rude. So you go and say hi, you give them the casual like hello and you don't like really care and you don't change your behavior and yada, yada, yada. You don't let your ego get the best of you and worry about if they're dating someone else and how that makes you look and yada, yada, yada. Like, the best way to show him that you actually don't give a fuck about him and you didn't like him more than you is to show him that you don't give a fuck, to be indifferent around him, to not care,
right.
That's how you do it.
The other thing is, I know this is just another ego thing, but it was just crazy. I was trying to follow your advice to everyone else by saying like, oh, you don't need to go get your sweatshirt or whatever at their house. So, but I had actually a ton of stuff there. So just right after he initially said it, I was like, okay, I need to come get all my stuff right now so that this isn't dragged out. And I got there probably 20 minutes after him, and it was all sitting out in the driveway. So he watched me through the window while I was loading it in my car. And I thought what you would do was be like, okay, got my stuff, just never talk to him again. But of course I didn't follow through with that. So then I knocked on the door and was like, hey, like that was really weird that you just watched me through the window loading my stuff. And that's when the whole conversation, because at first all he said is, I think we should break up. And I just didn't say a single word and got out of the car and left. But then that's when all of this happened. So I guess it is an ego thing because it was all so rude. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. It's just like there's a time and a place to stand up for ourselves. But like this guy's just playing fucking games with you. That's all he's doing,
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be willing to like shut your ego down and not convince yourself that you need to like call him out and put him in his place and let him know what's up and blah. That's what he wanted. He wanted the reaction. He wanted to know it bothered you. And that's all and you got to understand. That's where egos always fail us, is like, especially in these situations, especially breakup situations. What we really want to do is and the thing that will fuck with these people the most is to not to immediately let them know that we're over it, that they don't impact us, that no matter if they're nice or if they're not nice, we're not affected by them anymore. They no longer have control or power over us. That is how we fuck with these people even more. And every step of the way, I mean, he barely does anything, and he gets such a reaction out of you.
Right.
You take everything
That's true.
he says.
He did nothing, literally.
You take everything he says as gospel, and he's just saying shit just to say it, just to get a reaction.
But what if I know what you're going to say. It doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, I literally feel like he was being serious. Like he was like trying not to hurt my feelings. Like he was sobbing and saying stuff like, I wish that I wouldn't make you sad, blah, blah, blah. Even though he was saying those like catchphrases that are like,
listen,
I really enjoyed our time together.
The only thing he ever said to you that I'm pretty sure was honest, that he's a weak man. And then instead of like believing him, you pitied him.
Right.
And then going forward after that was kind of his get out of jail free card, because he kind of always felt sorry for him. Why did he cry and feel bad? Because he is weak. Because he didn't want to feel like the bad guy. I don't know. And one moment he says one thing and the other thing he does another. He's not consistent with his behavior. What sucks for you, in addition to like being a victim of your ego, I'm guessing, based off what you're telling me, that you love, I don't know, a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of a mess, because everything about your telling it's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you invested. It's that toxic simulation I've talked about over the years. How old are you again? 28, 29?
28.
28.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're still young, but you're probably too old to deal with this type of behavior. And you're certainly old enough to be able to suss out this type of behavior. And you're old enough to know better. And you're old enough to, while we all get excited for drama, even though we all love to tell people that we don't like the drama, you like the drama. It's fine. We all do to a certain extent, but you have to like just look yourself in the mirror and been like, why do I keep investing in these people that only bring drama into my life? And am I actually ready to meet someone who, quite honestly, over time might be a little boring, but I'll feel secure.
Okay, this is
I'll feel
another point
safe.
about that. So I don't know what you're going to say to this. So in like August, that was like a month before we broke up, I am a rover dog sitter. And one of the men that brought a dog was really cool. And so the day we broke up, I got on Hinge, but with like a fake name and no pictures, just because I was like, I just want to see who exists out there.
Yeah, makes sense.
And what do you know? The first person on there, I just didn't want anyone to see me on there like that day, you know. But the first person on there's him. So I hurried up and put my pictures and changed it to my real name and liked him. And he immediately messaged me. And the thing is, I know it sounds like I'm like pining over this other man. It's more the ego thing. But now I like actually like this other guy, and I feel like that's bad if you just got out of that long of a relationship.
Well, why do you think it's bad?
It just, I guess it doesn't matter how it looks, but it just looks bad to like hop straight. Because I always used to tell people not to do that, like to just be single.
Who are you worried about looking bad to?
Actually, I guess just myself, maybe.
If that's the answer, then maybe your fear of looking bad really is maybe your gut trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
You know, I think two things can be true at the same time. I think you can be genuinely interested in this guy, excited about this guy, flattered that he liked you back, interested in getting to know him better. That doesn't mean you're clearly affected by your ex. So to say that you don't care and you're over it and ready to move forward, you're obviously not. Right? And I don't doubt that you're actually excited about this guy. But I think what your gut is telling you by this fear of looking bad is to know that maybe deep down, while you are excited about him, you're not ready. That you're the fear of, and maybe you're afraid of looking bad in front of him because you're going to go on a date and knowing that you shouldn't be talking about exes, kind of subconsciously project that maybe you're not over him. I don't know. That's definitely possible.
Does it change anything that we've already hung out every day for 3 weeks?
I mean, I don't know. Then
I feel like that's bad.
why? I don't. It's not. It is what it is. I don't know. I'm not here to judge it. Why did we spend 20 minutes talking about some guy that is in your past when you've been hanging out every day with this new guy?
That's why I'm like, I don't know, because whenever I sent that email, I was distraught. But then like so that event that I saw him at was Thursday. And aside from that, since I sent that email, I don't know why, but I haven't been distraught at all besides just that one night. And so now I'm kind of like, am I just fine right now? Or am I going to start feeling like how I was feeling, you know, when I sent that email again? I just don't even know.
Well, I mean, maybe you need to slow down a little bit. Why are you hanging out with this guy every day?
Well, just because he asks.
You can say no.
I know, but
you can
I'm
play
like,
hard to get.
okay.
I mean, are you?
I guess.
You've known this guy for how long?
Well, only for 3 weeks, like talking to him, but I watched his dog in like the middle of August.
Listen, I just think like sometimes early on perception matters a little bit, right? And I'm not saying you should fake it or pretend to be someone you're not. And listen, none of us are as busy as we like to pretend. And it sounds like despite all the other things you have going on in your life, that you have a few extra hours a day as a single woman. I mean, I'm assuming you don't have kids or...
No.
Yeah, so your responsibilities are light. So outside of whatever you do for work, you have some free time. And right now you're choosing to have that free time with him. But you're also kind of just painting this picture of like hyper available for him, you know?
Right.
And like not like...
Even though he's the one that has to hang out every day?
Doesn't matter. No, he's also available, but like you're just always saying yes. Throw him for a loop and be like, I don't know, I got something going on. You being too busy for him will not make him not like you.
Right.
You know?
Uh,
I mean, eventually you want to give him time and attention, make him feel like a priority, like anyone would want to feel in a dating relationship. But you don't need to be hanging out with someone new every day. You're not slow playing it. Now you're at risk of moving too fast, playing house, getting caught up in the moment, advancing the relationship faster than you actually should, making each other feel like you've known each other for so long, when in reality, there's still a lot you need to learn about each other.
right. Well, also, probably a week and a half ago, we were going to go to happy hour with the ex-boyfriend common friends. And my friend showed up to lunch when I was with this guy and was like, she was supposed to meet us though. And she was like, hey, I'm really sorry, but you can't come to happy hour anymore. He's going, like the ex. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. So obviously I was really mad. So I went back outside with the new guy and I lied because he was like, why are you so pissed right now? And I was like, oh, she invited my ex, which that wasn't the lie. But then I was nervous. I didn't want him to be like, oh, you guys just broke up. So I was like, oh, yeah, I broke up with him like a month ago because I just looked bad. And so now I'm like, should I say something like that? That's not true.
And what's the truth? Where's the lie?
He broke up with me and it was only like a week before he said that.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's wrong that you lied. I think it's another example of just how obsessed you are with how you look to people. You had the right to be upset in that moment. Your friend uninvited you. Your friend didn't even give you the opportunity to be like, I don't care,
Right.
If he cares, that's his problem. He cannot show up. You had the right to feel that and say that to your friend. And then you could have gone back to this new guy and been like, I'm super irritated. I don't know, me and my boyfriend, we broke up. You don't have to get into who broke up with who, but like, I don't really give a shit. Obviously, I'm excited about you, but she really told me I can't come because I don't know. I guess he has an issue with it. You could have just said that.
Yeah.
There's nothing for you to be embarrassed about, but you're so hypersensitive about looking stupid that you will like come up with a story of how stupid you might look when honestly the truth doesn't make you look stupid at all.
Okay, I guess that's true. I didn't think about that.
He looked stupid for making his friend, your mutual friend, uninvite you because apparently, again, the weak man that he is can't handle your presence, which, by the way, speaks to how much he still likes you or is affected by you. Honestly, like you can't even see the obvious signs. Your ego doesn't want to see the opportunity your ego can feel better. Like,
right.
You can be like,
That's
oh, wow,
true.
he's still bothered by me? Okay, I guess. Like, okay. And meanwhile, you have a guy that you're like into that you say, like, that should have been such a validating feeling that it still rubbed him the wrong way.
Right. I didn't think about that. I thought it was more like they were going to be uncomfortable, so they didn't want us both to come, but they didn't say that. So
who's they? I mean, why would they be uncomfortable?
Just other mutual friends.
Why does he get the call? Why does he get to go?
That's a good point. I don't know.
I mean, how close are you with his friend?
Well, the one that is my best friend that I was talking to, but the other ones are like our old coworkers. And like both of us me and that guy worked together at the same place as these other people. And then we both left to separate jobs. And so it's like the other ones are like old coworkers, but then that one's my best friend.
Your best friend uninvited you?
She didn't say it directly, like uninvite, but it was like, hey, I'm really sorry, but this guy invited him. And so, yeah, like that. And I was like, okay. And then she started feeling really guilty about it and was like, I'll just go with you, but I don't want someone to be forced to hang out with me when they want to go to something else, So she ended up going. And then, yeah, it was just, we didn't talk about it since.
Well, talk about it. I think you really need to get over you have an ego problem for sure.
Great.
Well, at least you can identify the problem, and that's something you can control. That's for sure.
How do you get over that kind of problem?
You just got to be a little more honest with yourself. You have to like take a step back. I don't know, phone a friend, have a therapist, someone you trust, call in. I mean, it's not sustainable to call here every time, but part of it is just like, again, kind of understanding the principles of like how our egos work or what drives us, what triggers us, or just people in general. It's just all the things that you are saying and doing and how you've reacted are normal things. In fact, it's more common than the way people should act, right? And I've made all these mistakes that you're making now, but I got tired of making those mistakes, and I just started, I don't know, just reflecting a little bit more and applying the common sense I've learned over the years. The difference between, me and you, right? I guess for argument's sake, it's not like my ego went away, right? It's still there, and it still has the same toxic and intrusive thoughts that it had years ago, similar to yours. The difference is that when my ego pops up and waves its flag and wants attention from me, I feel the same feelings you feel. I feel that inadequacy or that fear or anxiety or what are people saying and worrying about and blah, 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 blah. Those all still happen for me. I can recognize that. I can time out and I can say, Nick, wait, like, why do you, I can ask myself the questions I'm asking you. Why do I care? What am I really upset about? Wait a second. Why is he so bothered by I'm there? Would you have gone knowing he was there?
Yeah, because I would have just sat on the other side. I would rather go and be on the other side of the table, like not sitting next to him and hang out, than be not invited and them all hang out without me.
Okay. I would love you to just go because you don't give a fuck. But you have to fake it till you make it, right? And so I guess, again, back to my point, it's just like the ego's never going to go away. The only thing that hopefully happens for you is you just get better at slowing down a little bit, checking in with yourself, asking yourself these questions I'm asking you, and apply the common sense you've learned over the years to say, well, yeah, I feel this way, but why do I feel this way? Is it possible for me to feel another way? Should I look at this situation differently? The maturity I've demonstrated in my life, and honestly, like what this show ultimately is all about, is just changing your perspective on a situation. That's all I do. Anyone who calls me with a problem, I'm not really giving them necessarily advice or what to do. I certainly don't diagnose people. I'm not a therapist. I'm just suggesting an alternative point of view, and one that doesn't involve validating your ego, right? Or one that doesn't include feeling sorry for yourself and living in your pity party. I'm just offering alternative ideas and approaches to view a situation a little more honestly without involving your ego. And you can learn that on your own. That's what I'm honestly hoping the people listening to the show learn and kind of apply to themselves. That's all I'm doing. I didn't eliminate my ego. I didn't get rid of it. It's not as if these same insecurities and thoughts and feelings that you have right now, they still show up. I just address them differently than you do now. I can check myself quicker than you do now. I can do it on my own. And when I can't do it on my own, I have a therapist, or a friend. Find someone who can give you the tough love that I'm giving you now. It's like, if you can't do it on your own, find people who are capable of being honest with you, that have a little bit more emotional maturity than maybe you have right now, or other people or your other friends. It's never going to go away.
Right.
It's just good at, you just have to teach yourself how to control it better.
I know. Well, now I know that you're telling me.
Yeah. So give yourself a little bit of grace, but now you just have to be willing to learn from it. And if we get off this phone call and then you just kind of go about your life, then obviously you don't care. It doesn't bother you that much. If you don't do anything about this and choose to learn, then that will tell you that ultimately you just kind of love the drama. And I'm not saying that's the case, but if you don't actually do the work and actually change and check in with yourself and try to check your ego, even and it'll take time to get good at it, but you have to make an attempt, then all this call is you continuing the drama.
Right.
But hopefully that's not what it is. Hopefully you're actually tired of feeling this way. Hopefully you're actually kind of exhausted and wish that, you and hopefully you can recognize that you shouldn't feel this way based off of how this guy treated you. And you're tired of letting a guy like him make you feel the way that you feel now. And hopefully that you're willing to learn and apply what, we've talked about.
Okay, I know you're going to say it doesn't matter, but just maybe you will know the answer to this because no one else does. Is this a common thing that randomly the 2 weeks before we broke up, he was just super overly nice? It was unreasonable and weird how nice he was being. Is that a normal thing that someone feels bad they're about to break up with you, so they're overly nice?
What about this guy's behavior has been normal?
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know your answer. Yeah. And I don't have an answer. Sure. I mean, people do weird things all the time. I mean, you're making too much about a temporary moment in your relationship. What really matters is how this guy was throughout your relationship, which is most of the time he wasn't that nice. I don't know. Maybe he tried out being a good guy and kind of hated it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
don't
think
know.
so, because I said he wasn't allowed to watch football 6 days a week. So I think that was a big problem.
You're wasting, again, energy on something that, it's not that it doesn't matter. It's just, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. That is the answer. Yeah,
I know.
But the point is, you're wasting all this energy trying to like figure out something that doesn't matter. And what matters is you've asked a lot of people and no one has an answer for you, and you're not willing to accept that. That's your problem.
Right.
I mean, what were you hoping I was going to come up with?
I don't know. Like, I think I was just, because in my head, it was just that he felt bad that he was going to break up with me. So I was just wondering if you were going to confirm that or
Maybe,
not.
but what does that change?
I guess nothing.
And then, so why are you wasting your energy, and a lot of it, I might add, on things that ultimately wouldn't change how you feel?
I guess there's no reason. I guess because it's an ego hit.
We're going to get off the phone and I'll move on. And you just, eventually you're going to have to ask yourself, is this fun because I like the drama, or am I just exhausted, wasting my energy on these types of people and on these types of situations?
Hopefully saying exhausted.
Hopefully, but the answer will be in your actions.
So what actions am I supposed to do right now? Just get over it?
As far as him, I would stop investing a lot of your mental energy trying to figure him out. That would be step one. And when you do find yourself in your head asking yourself these questions, because that's normal, you just have to say, stop it.
I was going to say your thing works. I thought it was crazy when you were saying it. I was like, that is not real. I forgot exactly how you said it, but you said, like, when you catch yourself thinking about something over and over, just literally telling yourself to stop. And I always thought you were crazy. Like, that's not a thing, but that actually works.
Yeah. Like, why can't we talk to ourselves all the time? Why can't you tell yourself to do something? Why can't you just, right now, I'm thinking about Justin dressed as a vampire yesterday. And now I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch. Look, I just changed what I was thinking about. It's not that hard. We're so good at convincing ourselves that we have to obsess over these things. Like, we're so good at giving ourselves permission to do what we want. It's ridiculous. And that's all that is. Because what we like to obsess over things. We love to ruminate. We love to think, about this stuff, and we just need to give ourselves more credit. But yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that. But yeah, you can do that. The difference between, it's like when I say that, you're taking it as you can't control thoughts entering into your mind. And that's true. You can't. Like, sometimes things just pop up. Why did I just think that? Holy shit, that was weird. The difference is, how much energy and how much time are you going to let yourself ruminate and sit on this thing that popped in your head? Or are you going to let it go? And that's the thing you can control. And then what do you do going forward as far as this guy? I don't know. Ask yourself, why am I spending so much time with this guy? Is it because I really like him, or is he keeping me preoccupied? Is he distracting me? Do I really see a future with this guy? If so, is it healthiest for us to stay hanging out every day? Maybe I should just say no to him and see how he reacts to that. Maybe I can learn something about this guy by changing how often we're hanging out. And if it disappoints him, see how he handles disappointment. Is he capable of having a mature conversation that goes something like, hey, honestly, I really like you and I've been kind of excited about you. But like, to be totally honest with you, I just got out of a relationship that you know about. And like, I'm moved on from that. But because I really like you, I kind of want to slow down just a tad. And I don't mean like stop talking, but like, maybe we don't have to hang out 7 days a week. Or maybe you don't even have to have that conversation. Maybe you can just start saying no. Hey, I'm kind of busy. And then if he does check in with you and be like, hey, like, I'm just kind of noticing you're more busy, just be like, well, to be honest, like, I really like you. I want you to know that. I just like don't want to deprioritize all the other things I have going on in my life, like my work, like my friends, like my family. And I just like, I want to have a healthy balance in my life, but just know I really like you. And that's mature. And that's a healthy conversation. And he should listen to that, hear you out. He can be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. But like, yeah, I really like you too. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow or whenever it is. Or
so do you say that out of nowhere, or just if he asks why I'm not hanging out as much?
You can either address it right away and just tell him, or change your behavior and see if he asks you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily a wrong way. And yeah, kind of stop lying. I don't know. Don't lie about stupid shit. As far as
I swear I don't usually lie. I'm a horrible liar usually. I just got nervous.
I mean, listen, I don't know if you need to tell him, but you could. I don't think you have to make it such a big deal. It would just go something like this. Hey, something. Can I tell you something kind of weird? I honestly, like, this is so stupid, but like technically I lied to you because technically, well, not even technically. My ex broke up with me last. And don't say you tried to break up with him. You know, you did break up with him. I broke up with him several times, but I just honestly never followed through with the breakup because he always apologized and he always made a bunch of excuses. So I always like took him back. And honestly, like my ego is just a little bruised by him ending it. I don't know why I lied about it. It's been rubbing me. It's been bothering me. I like you. I don't want to like lie about stupid shit. It's not who I am. So, and honestly, like he shouldn't make that big of a deal.
Yeah, he probably will just say, okay.
Listen, you just met this guy. So slow down, get to know him. You know nothing about this guy. Still, I don't care that you hung out every day. There is so much about this guy you don't know. You're changing as a human being. He's changing as a human being. So, like, keep getting to know him. Don't make promises about your future with him. Don't talk about the future. Don't make plans beyond, next week with him. Just be like, yeah, I really like you today. And I am really enjoying getting to know you. And I hope we continue on this path. That's the most you can promise someone. It's certainly early
Okay,
on.
I'll get it together.
All right. Control your ego. You can do it. You haven't done it yet. You've chosen not to do it. Like you're there. You kind of understand the rules. You got to follow through this time.
It's crazy because I hear you say that to people all the time. And for some reason, I just literally did not think you were going to say that to me.
Well, I mean, listen, because we all think we're different and special and unique. And when, listen, I am not as good at giving advice to myself when I am emotionally triggered or fucked up or deregulated, type of thing. That's why I have a therapist. That's why I have a support system. I am not emotionally invested in your life. And then I can see it very clearly. You are emotionally invested in your life. You're invested in the outcomes. Your ego's involved. So yeah, listen, it's normal that way. Your biggest thing, again, is to, when these feelings pop up, is to recognize what it is and not give in to the behaviors and feelings that you're feeling and control those thoughts and feelings to the best of your ability. You're just recognizing it and then doing nothing about it. You're just like, well, my situation's different. And, and you're more interested in these random bullshit, useless questions you come up with of what does it mean? I don't know. It sounds like you bought my book.
I didn't, but I need to.
Okay, well, it's fine. You were just kind of, a lot of what I talk about on the show is in the book, but like there's a whole chapter on when to ask yourself why versus when to ask yourself what. After a breakup, you got to remove the why word out of your vocabulary. Why doesn't matter. It just happened. Why? Who gives a fuck? It did. What happened is more important. He treated me a certain way. Mm-hmm. He was inconsistent. He was a weak person. What is very important right now for you? Why? I don't care.
That's a good point.
You ask yourself why about this new guy. Why do I feel the way I do? Why am I spending so much time with him? Is it healthy to do so? Am I making healthy choices when it comes to this new guy? Why am I doing it? That's a good time to ask yourself why.
You gave me some things to think about because I didn't think that there would be anything new, but you've said what other people haven't said. And I thought that I already knew what you were going to say, but I guess I didn't.
Well, good. It's good to know I'm not a broken record yet. Check out the book. Don't Text Your Ex Happy Birthday. And I'm guessing there's a lot of things in there. There's a whole chapter on getting over people. There's a whole there's chapters on dating. And then this whole like why versus what. This whole book, again, is just about like changing your perspective on your dating life. And I think ultimately your biggest problem is you are a victim of your perspective when you're emotionally triggered.
Okay, well, I'll go order it now.
And in the meantime, you kind of already know a lot of the rules, so to speak. Now you have to apply them.
Okay, I will. I think I know what to do. Just the not ruminating on things and stop asking why. And
I think maybe you need to ask yourself if you are a little too into the drama than you'd like to acknowledge.
Right. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I am or not.
I think you are. Based off what you're telling me.
That's embarrassing.
I mean, you're not alone. Why are you embarrassed? I don't get who, like, you act like you're the only person who has an ego in this world. Stop being embarrassed over silly things. Who are you embarrassed from? Like me? I'm not judging you. The people listening, they don't even know who you are. They don't even know your real name. You're just a voice.
That's
Like,
true.
what are you so embarrassed about? You know, it's
Just being dramatic. That's gross.
well, stop it.
Okay, I will do my best because I do not want anyone to think I'm dramatic.
You investing your energy in things that ultimately don't impact your life is you being dramatic. So recognize that. Why? Again, why? Why am I
Okay.
doing what I'm doing now? Not why did he do what he, like, if you want to ask yourself why, ask yourself why about yourself, not about them.
Okay.
I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. Who knows? I can't make sense of him. You can ask yourself why. You can have the answers. You have all the answers about who you are and why you do what you do. And if you're willing to be honest with yourself, asking yourself why, you can get a lot of information about why you do what you do. You just have to be willing to ask, and you have to be willing to listen and be honest with yourself. You got to keep it real.
Okay. Okay, I will.
All right. Well, good luck out there. Good luck with this new guy. Let us know what happens.
Okay, well, thanks for letting me call in and talk to you about it.
I appreciate the call.
Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.